But I'm going to assume that I don't have a printer at my house and that I have to do this on paper, which is probably what most of my students will end up doing. So I just go right over to my paper here. I'm going to skip a line because I like skipping lines between questions. It helps me keep organized and helps my handwriting not look as awful. I mean, you can kind of see that it's going to be awful no matter what. But anyway, I'm going to skip a line and I'm going to write gathering data to indicate a new section. And then I will go ahead and start number 1, skipping a line again. Now, number 1 on my task sheet asks me for my total number of respondents, total number of blank and blank. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and use adults and teens for mine. That's how the Springboard book has it set up, but you're going to have to come up with some other kind of criteria to analyze your data. So, this is going to be really handy. Now, I'm going to say total number of respondents and again, because I'm writing this out, I'm going to abbreviate and just put the pound sign. Number of respondents. I need to go to my data and I need to actually calculate this out. So you can see here with my data that I'm actually going to be, oop, that was not what I wanted to do. So what just happened? Let's close out of this. Or we could not do that. All right, close out of that. So what I'm actually going to be doing here is I'm going to be looking for the total number of respondents. So if I scroll down, I can see here that it looks like I have 29 respondents, but wait 1 second, because if I look on my screen here, I can see that while this says 29, okay, up here I have row 1 that has all of my title information in it. So I may want to make sure that I'm not including row 1 in the final count of my respondents. So if I take a look here, I can actually take 29, subtract 1 from it, and get 28, which is the number of respondents if I exclude this row, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and erase this. And for the rest of my analysis, I need to be aware of that. That row 1 is going to be there constantly. So I need to subtract 1 from all of my data. So 28 was my number for total respondents. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Now I need to figure out how many adults I had and how many teens I had. Okay? So I know that I'm going to need to find this. So what I do is I go to my data, and I'm going to actually scroll. Let me click here. And actually scroll until I find where my adults end. Now, for my purposes, I'm thinking adult is anything over 19. I'm going to go ahead. If it's a teen, if it's got teen in the word, I'm going to count them as an American teen. So I see right here in this cell, my last teenager was a 17-year-old, and then the next respondent was 21. So this is my cutoff, right? Right here, row 13. So I know that because this is row 13, I'm going to have to subtract 1 to get my total number of teenagers. So this is 13 minus 1 equals 12, right? So that's my final number. So I come over here to my page, and I simply write in, okay, I had 12 teens. And you know what? I'm going to be a little bit OCD here, and I'm going to go ahead and get rid of that. And just for organization's sake, I'm going to write it over here so that it's in line with this, okay? And again, I don't want that weird mark on my page, so 12, right? Now, my job is really easy. I have 28 and 12, so I just have to subtract 12 from 28 to get the remaining adults. So 28 minus 12, I know this is going to be 6 and 1, right? 16. 16 plus 12 equals 28, I think. I'm an English teacher. All right, so moving on. I've got my first number done. I can cross that off my list, right? Calculate the percentage of yes and no responses. Now this is where maths come in. So what I'm going to do is go back to my sheet here, skip a line, do number 2. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to set up kind of like a table. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to put yes and no, and then I'm going to draw a line down. Okay, and separate these out, make a little table here. I'm going to do overall. I'm going to do adult, and this time I am going to capitalize because it's at the start of a line, so I'm not going to keep it lowercase. This up here, I kind of had it as part of a sentence, but down here I'm just going to capitalize it because it's kind of its own standing word. And I'm going to go to my data and actually count up how much of what response I have. So let's get rid of this note-taking here. This is the beauty of having a smartboard. I'm going to figure out where my teens are and see how many teenagers I have that say no. So teens, 17, that's a yes, 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 yes. And I got a no. So I've got one no for my teenagers. Okay? One no for teenagers. So I go back to my little sheet here, and for teens, I'm going to put a parentheses and 1, because I remember, if I look on my task sheet, that it asks me for the percentage. Okay? So I want to follow directions and put the percentage. So I'm just going to, for now, I'm going to leave myself a little note there that there's one teenager. Okay? Now, I know that I have 12 teens here, so I'm going to go ahead and subtract from that, and that means that I had 11, okay, 11 teenagers who indicated yes. Now, I'm going to do the same thing for my adults. I need to find the adult line here, and I need to count how many I had who said either yes or no. I'm going to go with no because it seems like I have more yeses than no's. So I'm going to take the easy route here. And there's my first adult. So there's a yes. Oh, that was a no. Okay, so I've got one no, 2 no's, 3 no's. Is that 4 no's? Looks like maybe my keyboard's not working. That's, let me count again. 1 no. All right, so 1 no, 2 no's, 3 no's, 4 no's. 5 no's, 6 no's. Okay. All right. So 6 no's for adults, right? So I go back to my sheet here. For adults, I had 6 no's, and I know that I have 16, so that means I had 10 adults who responded with yes. So overall, that means I had 21 and 7. So now what I do is I just do some basic fractions, and being that I am your English teacher, I'm going to go ahead and calculate this out. So overall, I had 21 out of 28 respondents indicate yes. So overall, my yes is going to be 75% here. Okay, that means I have 25 over here. Look at me, I did it. I'm a good English math teacher. So 10 and 6 then. So I have 10 out of 28 who indicated yes. Now this is 0.357. So I'm going to round up to 0.36. Okay, so I'm going to say 36%. And I should be able to do this in my head, but I'm not going to. So 100 minus 36, 64% over here. Okay. Now I had 11. Oop, That's not correct. I need